So we're going to do a little bit of a different thing. I've been here all afternoon, so spoiler alert, I'm going to kind of bring the energy level up a little bit. And I know that starting a presentation is really, with a video, is sort of breaking 10 public speaking rules all at once. But since today is anything but your normal run-of-the-mill business conference, I figured you all would embrace that with me. So this is going to be a different journey that I'm taking you on. Hang on to your seats. I want you to imagine, and I want to try to get the video up here. I want you to imagine you're participating in your first mud run. You take a deep breath and you launch yourself towards smoke and dirt. Before you know it, you're low crawling under sticky mud and barbed wire when suddenly, hold on, do you guys hear that? Is someone eating chips? But you don't feel the mud between your fingertips. And you can't feel the sting of the barbed wire because you're in the comfort of your own home, being connected virtually to this live experience. And really, who would be eating potato chips? At any rate, so, in the world of technology, we all understand that through the great advancements of virtual reality, we're able to be in the comfort of our own home, experiencing things like today or experiencing your first mud run. And it makes us wonder how long we're going to be meeting like this, our live experiences on the brink of extinction. I'm sure you're not surprised that I say no way. And of course it's convenient, thank you, yeah. Of course it's convenient for me to think this because, or believe this rather, with conviction, because I founded a company called Eventbrite, which is the first global marketplace for live experiences. And gathering like this is exactly why we started the company. But I think that it also goes to a personal sort of belief and conviction, which stems from that feeling you get when you're at an event, when you're with other people, when you're connecting through a common cause or a passion. And maybe you can think about an event that you went to recently, perhaps it's just today, or what you're about to experience this weekend, or an event from your childhood that changed you in some way, that created a memory that is irreplaceable. For me, that was in my childhood. I grew up in Santa Cruz, I mentioned that earlier, but every year my parents would take me for my birthday up to the big city, San Francisco, to go attend a live Broadway show. And my friends and I would get dressed and we'd drive the 90 minutes from the little sleepy beach town to the big city, and we'd be transported for 2 hours into some magical land. And one year, I'll never forget, I actually even got to go backstage and meet the Phantom. And I brought a little mask that I had bought with my hard-earned tour money, and he signed the mask, and I still have the mask to this day. So these types of events, these types of gatherings, they actually are part of what makes us who we are. And these indelible memories aren't going to go away. We all spend days, hours in front of the computer digesting news feeds and terabytes of information. And you probably can't tell me one thing that happened yesterday in your news feed. But you'll never forget a feeling that you get at an event and a connection. And it's not just individual. Live events have a way of creating movements. I want to give you 3 examples. 1955, Allen Ginsberg reads his now famous poem, Howl, to 200 people in Golden Gate Park. And that sparked a literary movement. In 1985, a few more people gathered, 1 million to be exact, for the Rock in Rio concert. And it wasn't just to gather to have a really great time and hear amazing music, but it really was to celebrate independence, as several dictatorships had fallen that year. Or present day. I don't know how many of you have had the pleasure of experiencing Wanderlust, but tens of thousands of people come together all over the world to experience something that they believe in and to connect with one another. And that really can only be experienced by gathering offline. So how do people in so many different walks of life and throughout time get their fulfillment through live experiences? Why do we seek that fulfillment? It's really sort of elemental to being human. I think, when we look at Maslow's hierarchy of needs, we see above our basic needs of food, water, shelter, air is belonging. This sense of being one, of connecting with one another. And we truly believe at Eventbrite that this is what fuels the need for live experiences and why live experiences are not going away. And so I wanted to take you through a little bit of, data that we gathered and sort of a bit deeper how we think of this notion that live experiences are in high demand, and that even though technology is getting so good that we can feel like we're in that moment, live experiences won't become extinct. So at Eventbrite, obviously this is something we care about deeply, and we wanted to put data behind this because we are a data-driven company. And so we partnered with Hartz Research, and we polled 2,000 American consumers because we had a hunch that spending on live experiences is going to be increasing, and we wanted to know what was driving that. So, great thing. Half of the people we polled, almost half the people we polled said they were going to attend more live experiences in the future. They had this intention or this feeling that they wanted to attend more live experiences in the near future. And that's all well and good. But we wanted to go a little bit deeper. So in looking at all this data and looking at the responses we received, we pulled out 3 macro trends that are driving this need or this wanting to attend more live experiences. So the first is consumer sentiment is shifting. It used to be about what we bought or what we had that defined us. Our first car, a house, handbag, and that started to build our identity. Whereas now it's about what we do and where we go that really fulfills that need for identity. And no generation is fulfilling this more than millennials. Now, I'm going to stop and double click on millennials because when I hear millennials, I think of 13-year-olds. But apparently they're between 18 and 34, I hear. And we like to dub this generation the experiences generation. Because when we look at millennial spending behavior and live experiences, it's pretty astounding. And we put some data overlaying this behavior to really give some sense as to why this is happening. So, newsflash, millennials are going to be the largest living generation imminently. So you got to get used to them and you got to love them. But they're also commanding $1 trillion already in spending. And since the 80s, when these millennials came to be, spending on live experiences has increased by 70%. So I think that there's a safe correlation we can make between millennial spending habits and live experiences. In fact, of the people that we polled in our research, and we extrapolated out the millennials, 3 in 4 millennials said that they would choose to spend money on an experience over a product. Which brings me to, and over 70% of them said that they intend to spend more on live experiences. So again, that intention that we're seeing. And this brings me to the next macro trend, which is this connection between technology and live experiences. So we're not actually seeing technology erode the live experience. We're actually seeing technology fuel the live experience. And why? Well, I'd like to simply put it as social capital. Now, social capital is the value of sharing something online, deriving and the transaction that's derived from that. So seeing an experience online and wanting to experience it yourself and taking an action. Social capital is what we post in our social graph. It starts to build our identity. And one of probably the more humorous anecdotes I've heard around social capital comes from the great Taylor Swift. And she said that ever since the introduction of the iPhone, apparently she's been born that long, so she's been on this planet that long, ever since the introduction of the iPhone, she hasn't been asked for an autograph. But the selfie is the new autograph. When you think about it, selfies are the ultimate social capital for the superfan. So we dug into this in our research. We found that In fact, 1 in 3 of our entire respondents said that they share during an event like today, and 1 in 4 share about the event after it's happened. And this brings me to my third macro trend, which I think is very well suited for this crowd because I feel very comfortable and I think we can all trust each other. Have you ever been online late at night and maybe seen some fun event or a party that your friends have attended and you actually weren't there and you feel that twinge of anxiety? I know, I'll just be the first. I'm going to trust you guys. I have felt that. There's a clinical term for that. It's called FOMO. Fear of missing out. And it is real, people. And it's actually driving spending behavior. So when we asked American consumers about FOMO, you all who didn't raise your hand but really do feel FOMO, we're not alone, and that half didn't admit it, but half did admit to experiencing FOMO. And the interesting thing is, this actually is really, truly driving behavior towards spending towards live experiences more than ever. I'll share another story with you. Coachella, which is a pretty famous music festival, about 100,000 people out in the desert over 2 weekends, decided to do something crazy, and I think it was around 2007. They decided to stream the festival with high-def cameras on YouTube in real time for free. And the festival market, the industry went crazy. They went nuts because they thought that by doing this, it would cannibalize ticket sales. And when you look at the growth of Coachella ticket sales since that moment, since they decided to do that, it's been explosive. They almost tripled their ticket sales in the coming years after they decided to create that opportunity to drive FOMO in the people who weren't at Coachella. So we have these macro trends that I think hopefully make sense, and we have the data to back up what we feel is inherently true, which is that technology fuels life experiences, and you really have this flywheel of growth in building our social capital and our identity online to drive us towards wanting to feel something that we don't feel when we live our lives online. But I wanted to get to the qualitative part of this, which is probably what I honestly believe the most, which is that there's something that happens when you say yes. We spend so much time talking about what we should be saying no to. Emails, meetings, things that we don't really want to do. And I think that in an ideal world, we'd take that time and we'd focus on saying yes more to live experiences, just like today. Because at Eventbrite, we believe that live experiences, and saying yes to them, is not an agreement. It's a state of mind. It's a door opener, and it's an invitation. It's also an inspiration. It's possibility and positivity, and it's the courage to do what you want to do and the willingness to try something new. Saying yes is really the first step to leading a more vibrant, richer, fuller life. Because when we say yes, as you all know, we live more, we do more, and we feel more. And I think we can all agree that when everyone is saying yes, we want to say yes too. So today I want to end and say thank you so much for having me, but also with the notion of say yes. See where yes takes you. And congratulations on saying yes to Wisdom 2.0. This is an amazing event. Thank you.